Mistakes were made, but that's all right. We're going to get it worked out. Yeah, it's blindingly bright, so that's nice. That works good. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing if you want to. In one of my last videos, we upgraded the LED lights from my broken old original fog lights, and once we did that, it has such a bright, clear, crisp white light, super bright and everything, but it made the original headlights now actually look dull and yellow with the original halogen bulbs in it. So today we're going to install these Sealight, and I'll leave the link down below to these if you're interested in it. We'll see how these work out. LED conversion headlights, nice little kit here. We're going to hopefully upgrade the high beams and low beams. They have the boxes and the converters and everything with them, so we're going to see how that goes. Hopefully it's not too bad and everything works good, doesn't trigger any check engine lights. In order to change the headlight bulbs though, unfortunately, let's get the hood open. Unfortunately, we've got to take the headlight out, which isn't going to be too terrible. But we've got to pop this shroud cover off. We've got to take the grill out. Again, not too terrible because there's a bolt down here below that's easy to get to, right here. And then there's a bolt way down there, I'll show you when we get the grill off, where we've got to take it out. And then there's a little tab back here behind the wheel well, so you can pop this cover open here. And there's a pull tab in the back here that releases the light, and then the whole thing pops off. So we've got to get this out so we can get the headlight popped out, and then the bulbs you can access from the back. But we'll show you that once everything's apart. So we'll get started taking this apart and see where it goes. Alright, so we've got the cowl or the cover removed. It's just a few push pins, and the more you remove this, the easier it is because these little things kind of get worn out. But that just pops out with those push pins. I've got the 4 bolts removed. You've got 2 that are a little more coarse threaded, bigger ones on each end. And I did a full video of me changing out this emblem on the front and went over about how to remove and install this grill if you want to see it. But really it's just the 4 bolts, pretty short and sweet. And then there's some push clips in the back that you just kind of pull on it kind of gently, don't mess anything up. And there it goes, it just pops right out. And so let's see, yeah, you can see the one on the top right there, and then yeah, down there in the very bottom where that one goes right here. And then you just do the other side. It's kind of hard to do with one hand. That top one, there we go. So the whole thing is out, and then it just slides out from underneath. Again, it's hard to do with one hand. I'm gonna have to put the phone down, hold on. This tab in the middle was causing a problem. It was hung up in the middle, but it's loose now. And then you can see we've got the grill out, and then you've got this bolt on the light here, and then you've got the one right here. Move this light, one down here on the bottom. So we'll loosen those 2, and then I'll show you the tab on the back, and we'll be able to slide the headlight out. Alright, so we've got the light loose right here, and I'll show you a better image of it, or a better video when I get the entire housing out. I've got both hands free. But there's that gray piece of plastic, white piece of plastic that locks the light in. And then there's the little pop connector that the light pops into. You can see the connector right here. And so it just snaps in there. So you've got to undo that from the access panel right back here by the wheel well, and then you can snap that loose, and then the whole thing will slide out. So now we've just got to disconnect our wiring harnesses, and we'll be able to pull the whole light out. Okay, so here's what you got. Here's the connector I was talking about. So it's down in the lock position, and the light won't come out. So you have to reach in from the back and then push it up, and it'll release that clip on the back of the light. That's where the thing plugs in on the back to secure it also. You've got two little retaining clips that holds the wiring harness to the light. Now again, this is on the Sport model, so yours may be different. I've just got this one master plug that plugs into the back of the Sport headlight. So there's the plug on the light. And again, you know, mine are the factory projector style lights. So with the regular low beam and then the high beam bulb in the back. So we've got to take this cover off where the bulbs are, see what we're working with there and what's in there. And so there's adjustment screws and all that on there. And then there's that piece that clips in on the frame, and then that's the locking part that we have to push up and it'll release it there. So let's get this back cover off and see what we've got going on. Alright, so next step, we've got this back cover off. Everything up to this point has been a 10mm bolt, but these 5 small bolts that hold this back housing on for the light, they are 8mm bolts. So we've got those off. And so here's our regular low beam bulb on the left, and then our high beam is on the right here. So we need to disconnect those and then hook up the new LED bulbs, see if they're oriented correctly, and then plug them back in, and then we'll test fit everything and see if they come on and how they do before we reinstall everything permanently back on the truck. Alright, quick little update. So I made I'm glad I figured this out before I got too far. There's 2 different sets of lights in the box. There's the H8 ones, I think, that are for the high beam side, and then there's the normal 9005 ones for the low beam side. So I got the wrong one to start with. I said, well, that's great, this won't even fit in the slot and lock down. But that's not the case. I just grabbed the wrong bulb. I thought all 4 of them were the same, but so I got the right one. Now the other thing, I test fit it, and it was kind of loose in there, so I was worried about with the, you know, the jarring going down the road and the bumps and everything, it might wiggle or bounce or look weird. And so they actually include a backup O-ring kit in here. If it's not tight enough to lock in place, they have a larger 22mm O-ring instead of 20mm. So I pulled the stock one that came installed off, and it's got a little bit larger one popped on, and then it locked right into place. So no issues there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this one in and then get the other one out and make sure it fits, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we've got the bulbs in. You can see the LED bulb back there in the back for the high beams, and of course this one has the projector style lens on it, so you can't see that one at all. Mistakes were made, but that's alright. We're going to get it worked out. So turns out, even though you enter your year model and everything and tell them that this is the Sport with this, I got the wrong set of bulbs. So that's all right. I'm not afraid to admit it. And so these are the H8s. And so H9, H11, H16, they all fit and everything, or the same ones or whatnot. And that's what I thought when I first opened the box and looked at it and tried to get them to fit in, was going to go in the high beam spot. But turns out these Sport lights, or the projector style from the factory, both use 9005s. So here's the original. It's kind of hard to see. You might be able to see it there. 9005 SL Plus for the regular low beams, and then 9005 regular bulb for the high beams. So they're both 9005s. And what really the difference is this: the 3 prongs that go in and snap and lock it into place. The one on these H8s, they're too small. They won't go in. It won't fit right. So I think what these are for, and we're actually going to try them out on my son's truck. He has the regular quad style headlights on his Ram, 18 Ram. I think these are the high beams on those quad lights. So we'll check those out and see if those fit. So not all is lost. We'll be able to salvage these, and I'll order the other 2 9005s and put on the other side. And then I may go ahead and order 4 of them and upgrade the others on my son's at the same time. So it'll all work out. But now we've got to pop it back in the truck, test everything out, and see what we've got. Alright, light is back in. Everything's bolted back up, lines up fine. Just make sure you get that alignment tab in on the back, and then you can snap that thing back down to lock it in place, and then your 2 bolts go back in. We'll do a quick little unlock. There's the regular beam. Yeah, it's blindingly bright, so that's nice, that works good. And then we'll flip on the high beams and check those out, so that's working fine. And then compared to the good old halogen yellow light over here on the original side, then we'll do, since we've got to wait on the bulbs to come in for the other side, we'll do a test at night so you can see how much difference both of them are. Here's a quick video at night of the lights on. You can see on the left, the driver's side, the LED light bulb is much brighter and whiter. And then on the right, you can see the yellow light from the stock halogen. It's not great from a view inside the truck. We'll step outside and take a look at it from the outside, and you'll see a big difference. And then if I flip the bright lights on, you can see how much brighter and the white light on the left side versus the yellowish stock halogen light on the right side. Here's another view from the outside of the truck. Obviously it's going to be a little bit harder to tell with the sun flare or the sunburst in it, but you can see the new LED fog lights. Again, I did a video on those. If you want to check those out, I'll leave the link down below. You can see how much brighter and white they are. And then there's that stock halogen original one on the left versus the bright white LED bulb on the right. So there's how much brighter and the color difference. So at least now everything will match as soon as I get this other one put in. And we'll flip the brights on so you can see it. Got the brightness adjusted just slightly. So now here's the bright lights on as well. And so it cuts the fog lights off. But again, if you want to look at that video, I'll leave that link below, but it'll leave the DRLs on the fog lights now. But then there's the halogen brights on the left, still very bright, and then the LED super bright on the right. So I know it's not a perfect example since it's so bright it kind of washes it out, but there's an example of what it looks like with the brights on at night.
2 days later.
Alright, so after several days, we ordered the 2 kits of the 9004 bulbs from Amazon. There's the info on the side of it, if you can see it okay. So I needed 2 more bulbs to complete the passenger side for my truck, since it looks like the sport model headlights with the projector style take 9004s on both bulbs, high and low beams. And then while I was at it, since I had the leftover bulbs from the original kit, I'll show you those again. I went ahead and ordered a second set so I could do my son's truck, since he has the standard Ram headlights in his 2018. But they package them really well. They give you all the instructions and everything. Little O-rings for the spacers if they don't seat just right, tight enough to hold them in. And then they package them really well in here too. So we'll get these popped in, and that'll finish up the install on the sport models. They even include a set of gloves in here, you know, if you need to touch the halogen bulbs, and so you don't get your greasy, oily fingerprints and stuff on anything. I don't think it's probably too much of an issue with the LEDs. I still wouldn't touch them just to be on the safe side. But with those halogen bulbs, if you get any oil or grease or fingerprints on them and they heat up, they could cause problems or cause them to bust. So they even include a set of gloves in here. So really nice packaging. So we'll get these installed and see what they look like. We've got both lights in now. Both sets are fixed and updated to the new LED bulbs. Here's the regular lights at night. And then here are the high beams. You can tell that they really light everything up super bright. And we'll test them out going down the road, but you can see a huge difference in the high beams. And then there's the low beams. Of course, it's got the fog lights on too. I can turn those off. You can see a huge change. Yeah, there they are coming on and off there. And then there's just the low beams again and the high beams. Really bright. But we'll test it out going down the road so you can see the difference. Here we are again with just the low beams on, and then we'll swap over. You can see just how bright they are going down the road. They light up really, really well. And there's the radar detector going off. Here's another shot with just the low beams on, and then high beams lights everything up excellent. Both sides of the road, up and down, really lights up the night. I'm still really happy with the way they turned out. It was a little bit of a pain in the butt to get them installed, a little bit more involved than with my son's truck. His was easier by far, but overall it wasn't bad at all, and I'm real thrilled with the way they turned out. Still no light bulb out, no check engine lights, nothing like that, so very pleased with that, obviously. But yeah, very, very happy with the results, and glad we went this route and everything turned out well. And with that, we're all finished here. I appreciate you watching if you made it this far in the video. If you've got any questions about anything, feel free to leave a comment below. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or if it was helpful at all to you. And if you want to, consider subscribing to the channel. We do stuff like this all the time on my truck, my son's truck, different vehicles, stuff like that. We do travel videos and other stuff. You might come across something you find interesting. So I appreciate it again. I hope you have a good day. Thanks.